Where is the failing in the transport system?
I think many rural areas lack that key transport infrastructure that's taken for granted in towns and cities. That why should somebody, because they happen to live a long way out, suffer that they haven't got that rural connection? We're not asking for a great deal, just perhaps that the old, the infirm, the less well-off in society who can't necessarily afford vehicles or to run, can get around, can go and do their shopping, can go and visit a town or a city, can go and see their relatives. You know, they shouldn't be disenfranchised by a lack of infrastructure in the countryside. And the same you might apply to the likes of post offices. Why should somebody in the countryside be forced to travel 20-25 miles to the nearest post office? Doesn't that would be unacceptable in any town or city? So why should it be acceptable in the countryside? It shouldn't be.
Do you think, in a way, though, it's a battle, it's an inevitable outcome of the way society seems to be going? You know, everyone has migrated into cities because that's where the business is, that's where the industries are. Do you think it's this, you're fighting almost a losing battle, apart from the new fashion that's coming in, where people do want to make their money in the city and then retire in the countryside? So do you think...
Well, quite clearly, people move out to the countryside and do bring jobs and wealth to the countryside when they do that. But sometimes in doing so, they can destroy the fabric of rural society, especially if they're buying up homes and houses for second homes or holiday cottages that could perhaps go to rural workers and rural people. They artificially inflate the price of rural houses. You know, indeed, I think the West Country are struggling with it hugely, aren't they? Where wealthy people are buying second homes down in the West Country. And it leaves big holes in the community. The village I live in, I counted the other day, there are something like 19 houses. Well, there are 19 houses, and out of 19 houses, 11 are either second homes or holiday lets. So in a small base community, we have very few people left in the village. And you say, well, why don't rural people buy those houses? Simply because they can't afford to, because the prices are pushed up. Now, yeah, we welcome the people into the community, and they integrate largely very well. But if they're not there, it does leave a hole in our society.
So, what would the Countryside Alliance like to be done about that? Would you like some kind of regulations to be?
I think it's important when we're looking at building, planning regulation and building regulation, that some thought is given on a case-by-case basis for the indigenous population in the countryside, to ensure that their needs are looked out for, as would somebody in the middle of, say, Leeds or Manchester or London.
Do you think that's possible, though, for a case-by-case review to take place? Because surely that would take so much.
Well, no, because I think when housing's built, some consideration should be given to social housing, and indeed more and more councils are doing that. That they're looking at applications that are coming in for a number of dwellings and saying yes, okay, but a number have to be for rural people or local people, and kept at a sensible price, not a highly inflated price that only rich people can afford. So it is already happening, and we are making inroads into that. It's just a matter of getting the message through and disseminating that message through all councils in rural areas.